Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Welcome kindreds, it's Jessica the Story Witch, and I thought I'd finished filming all my videos ready for February, but then Cormack Carr threw a little spanner in the works with his Tarot Tools Trio tag. When I saw Brian's video for this tag, I thought, yeah, I really would like to answer those questions as well, and I'm really enjoying seeing other people's answers to the question. If you'd like to do the tag, I'll link Brian's channel and all the information for the questions for the tag in the description box. So one of the reasons why I was really keen to do this tag is I really like that idea of kind of pairing things back. Now, I don't think I could actually pair things back quite as much as this tag is suggesting. Basically what Brian wants you to do is to choose your 3 decks, 3 books, 3 spreads, and then you can choose 1 wild card as well, which if you were like going to a desert island or something, or going on a big trip, those are basically the only tarot tools and books that you can take with you. So I love that idea of kind of like streamlining and pairing back, so this was like a really cool idea for a challenge. So the first part of the tag is the 3 tarot decks that you would choose. Now, I know I've said it before, I'm not a massive collector of decks. I haven't got hundreds and hundreds of decks, or even 50. So but still it was difficult because I find that I use different decks for different things. So trying to kind of narrow down 3 decks that would cover kind of all of the bases, that was a little bit tricky. So I ummed and ahed a little bit, and this is what I've come up with. So the first deck that I would take would be a Rider-Waite-Smith. This is just your standard Rider-Waite-Smith. I know everyone will have seen this deck hundreds if not thousands of times. And the reason that I would take this is because it is, I know it's kind of like seen almost as like, oh, it's an easy deck, a beginner's deck in some kind of tarot circles and things now, but actually for me this deck has the most depth and symbolism and possibilities of reading available in the cards than many other decks. So there are issues with it, obviously, like it was made a very long time ago. It's not particularly culturally, ethnically inclusive. The pictures are very kind of stereotyped in a way, but the symbolism, the archetypes that are in these pictures, I think there's so many different ways to work with them. So I didn't have to think that much about this when I knew this would be one of the decks that I would take. So a Rider-Waite-Smith. Keeping it very, but not basic. Keeping it basic. I disagree that it is a good deck for beginners because it is accessible, but there are so many levels, you know, it's like peeling an onion, you just keep uncovering more and more layers of meaning. So that is a deck that I think if you could only ever have 1 deck, then that would be it. How sad would that be to only have 1 deck? But yeah. It's already getting a bit of a nightmare. And then the other 2 decks, I chose the Wild Unknown, which if you watch my channel, you'll know that I wasn't really expecting to like this deck. Well, I was expecting to like it from a kind of like an aesthetic point of view, because I'd seen the cards and I knew that they were really gorgeous. But I wasn't sure what it was going to be like to work with. And then, you know, everyone's seen this one too, you know, it's all over the place. And I think for good reason. When I started working with this deck, it gave me some quite hefty kicks up the backside in directions which I needed to go and I needed to take. And it is both a gentle and kick-ass deck, also open to many levels and layers of meaning. And it's it's very modern in its drawing as well, so I think if like you weren't going to be able to use a Rider-Waite-Smith with somebody, if you were kind of doing a client reading, then this deck would probably be a really good option to use for that. So yeah, Wild Unknown. Pop that to one side. And then my third and final deck, and this one was the hardest thing to pick probably because I have other decks which are more worked with than this. I almost chose Morgan Greer, but in the end I decided to go with a deck which is new to me, even though it is not new at all, and that is the Mythic Tarot. There's the backs of the cards there, and this deck has got quite a lot of similarities with the imagery in the Rider-Waite-Smith in a way, but it has also got those mythic, those stories, and I'm so excited to work with this deck in different ways. I think it's going to help me with my creative writing and with kind of accessing connections with deity as well. So this was like my kind of, I want to take it because I want to work with it, I want to learn more about it, and I want to connect with it more. So that was my reason for choosing to take this deck. Hopefully my instinct will be right that it will be a deck that I really, really love to work with. So those are my 3 decks. And then 3 books, and this was a little bit easier. My 3 favourite tarot books. This one by Rachel Pollack. I like a couple of her other books too, but I feel like this one is her best. 78 Degrees of Wisdom, and she goes through the meanings of the cards, and the way she talks about, especially the major arcana in here, is just it helped me to understand the depths of the cards so much better than any other book that I have read. There's quite a lot of kind of Kabbalistic interpretation in here, and she really dives into the imagery of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck in particular. So I think that with my Rider-Waite-Smith deck would keep me going probably indefinitely, because there's always so much more to learn about tarot. So yeah, so that book was a no-brainer for me. Then this one, which was one which Brian actually showed as well, which I thought was funny. This book I love. It's really, it is like a workbook. It's got lots of ideas for how to use the cards. It's got, you know, it is like you can fill in things. I haven't actually written in the book, but you know, you can use the ideas from this book. It's got spreads, it's got just so much in here. And even though I've worked through this book, I keep going back to it and doing parts of it again and again because there's always new things to discover. So I feel like this book is a really awesome tarot book, and it would definitely be in my top 3. And then this one, which is maybe a slightly more kind of old school tarot book. It's by Paul Fenton Smith, and it's much more like you'd expect if you were going to see somebody for kind of like a divination reading. You know, they'd be like telling you the future, I suppose, kind of predicting the future, and the readings of the cards in there do have the meanings, have those kind of future explanations, which I find interesting. He also tells some stories about readings that he's done himself and things like that in here, but I've actually found that this is a really good book to refer to if you're finding that a card is like, it seems almost like it's in the wrong place in a spread or something and it's just not making sense. Then going back kind of to basics and looking at it in here actually really, really helps. So yeah, so that's a kind of a weird choice, but I do really, really like this book. So it might not be for everyone, but yeah, that was mine. And then 3 spreads. Now this was a bit tricky because I am not very much of a spread person. I like to kind of read quite intuitively. I'm very much like a 3 card, so I find 3 cards can answer pretty much any question you throw at them, you know, whether that's past, present, future, or situation, action, outcome. You know, you've got so many possibilities. So a 3 card spread would be one of my answers to this question. And then I thought a little bit more, and I thought actually, you know, on the full moons I do a reading, and it's just a 2 card reading, and it is 1 card for what I am releasing, and 1 card for what I'm going to receive in the following month. So I find that release, receive, 2 card spread to be really really useful as well. And another one that I use, which I probably people do this as well, is the Celtic cross, but without the staff. So it's just kind of like that core, that kind of well, the core, yeah, of the Celtic cross. So I have the situation, what's crossing the situation, the unknown, the unconscious, and then the conscious motivation, and then your past card and your future card. So I like that, and I find sometimes with the staff as well, things get a little bit unwieldy. I do sometimes use Celtic cross like that as well, but it was something I probably did more when I was first learning. Whereas that core of the Celtic cross, I do keep coming back to that, and I find it really good, especially for reading for myself. So it often gives you insights that you could let yourself off the hook with if you're doing like a kind of 3 card spread. So yeah, so those are my 3 spreads. And then Brian says we can also have a wild card. Thank you so much, Brian. And my wild card would be another set of cards. And these aren't tarot cards, they aren't oracle, these are runes. And I've shown these in loads of videos, so I'm sure if you watch my channel then you will be used to these cards. But they are very super basic. I hope I'm holding these in the right place for these to be shown. But the readings that you can get with these for yourself, for other people, I love using these on moons as well, on the SBATs. They have so much resonance for me that daily draws with these cards are just really, really good. So I definitely would be taking these cards with me as well. In fact, what I want to do this year, I know I've mentioned this before, is to actually kind of pyrograph these runes onto like a set of just like little discs of wood, and yeah, and take those around with me in a bag because they are amazing. So that is my Tarot Tools trio. I hope that was interesting, and yeah, like I said, check out Brian's channel. It's really cool. He's got lots of tarot videos on there, and he uses tarot to like connect with coaching clients and stuff, so he's looking at it from that kind of personal self-development angle, which is also how I love to use tarot too. So I find like that what he says quite resonates with me, and if you like my videos then you'll probably find the same with his. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Looking forward to seeing everyone else's videos. If you do the tag, let me know and I can come over and watch your channel and watch your Tarot Tools trio as well. I'd like to find out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Warmest blessings. I'll see you very soon.